there any other way?
Fun, charity, donation.
Win?
All right, let's get going here. Good evening and welcome to the Board of Selectmen meeting for Monday, September 21st. We have a joint meeting here today with the school committee, and Barbie, if you have a quorum, you're welcome to open your meeting as well.
Okay, great. Do you want us to come up?
Not just yet, but if you want to open your meeting.
Okay, sure. Georgetown School Committee meeting will open 7 o'clock.
All right, excellent. Well, let's start with an invocation. So, everyone would please stand.
Almighty God, we come humbly before you. We acknowledge your sovereignty over all things. We thank you for your presence. We also thank you for your blessings in our community. Father, as we consider the task of governance within our community, we ask you to guide our thoughts, hearts, and Lord, we ask that you will grant to each of us wisdom, discernment, and understanding. And as always, Father, we come to you in the manner we were taught to pray. Amen.
Amen. And if you please salute the flag for your pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so good evening, everyone. If I'm still in my golf attire, because we just came off the golf course from the Georgetown Education Foundation Links for Learning, and a wonderful charity event, and I think we won again, so I'm not there to collect the prize, but that was a wonderful event. So I know there's some folks in the audience, Suzanne and others, that helped put that on. So thank you. That was fun. Everyone has a chance to go down and sign the warrant downstairs if you haven't already. Let's just get some meeting minutes approved here. If I get a motion to approve the minutes from our general meeting on September 14th, 2015.
So moved. Second.
Okay. Got a second on the motion. Any discussion?
If I may.
Of course.
Okay. On page 3 of 5, there's a reference to me. Second paragraph down, third line from the bottom, state that I stated, or are we setting up for a debt exclusion? I remember talking about it, but did I really, word it that way? I might have said that at the meeting before, earlier in September, but I didn't. Anybody remember? I remember talking about it. I just don't remember putting it as, are we setting this up for a debt exclusion?
Okay, so what language are you? I don't remember.
Where are you? Where are you on the page?
Second
Second
paragraph down, third line from the bottom.
Oh, third from the bottom.
I mean, I remember telling you the next paragraph begins with me stating that I'd be happy to put it forward for a vote that night. But,
Okay, so what language would you care to change? I don't recall the
I
conversation.
really don't recall. I just didn't think I put it that way. Perhaps I did.
Let me just delete that sentence.
No. Nobody remembers it. Maybe it doesn't look as bad as I'm thinking it looks. Okay.
All right, all those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye, okay. All right, we've got a resignation letter from Richard Boucher from the Council on Aging as an alternate that Richard's going to have to resign. So does that leave an open, an alternate position on the Council of Aging that needs to be filled? Okay. How are they doing in terms of their board, their committee?
They have a full board. I
Okay.
think he was the second or third alternate,
Okay.
Well, he needed to resign because he's on the Board of Registrars.
and he can't be on two boards.
Okay. Well, Richard, thank you very much for serving on the Council of Aging, and now as your position on the registers, thanks for continuing your volunteerism. We appreciate it in town. And we have a letter from the Board of Registrars requesting an appointment of 2 members. So this is getting a little bit tricky here, and I just want to make sure that we all are in the same sheet of music here. So We got the note here from our town clerk, Janice. And with the vacancies, it looks like we're being asked to appoint temporary registrars to fulfill the requirements, because right now, they cannot have a quorum and can't certify petitions submitted by town voters. And I guess, Mike, do we have any possible candidates to appoint at this moment? And if not, any recommendations on how you would hope to see this filled?
To my knowledge, there are no potential candidates at this time.
Okay.
The statutorily, the way the registrars are to be appointed is when there's a vacancy, a certified letter has to be sent to the party chair of the town. And in this case, there's both a Republican and Democrat vacancy. So last week, we sent the certified letter to both party chairs. They have 45 days to hold their own party caucus and develop a list of 3 names and submit it to the Board of Selectmen, from which the Board of Selectmen can then appoint registrars. Since that would bring us up to November 2nd, the 45 days, it could be done. But until the 45 days expires, they have 45 days to do this. However, the Board of Selectmen, if they are notified by the Board of Registrars that there are vacancies and asked to appoint temporaries, you can do that shorter than the 45 days. Knowing, time is of the essence right now, because the registrars have to certify any petitions that the citizens submit for the general elections. And that has to be done by November 6th.
Okay.
So either way, we're pushing up against it, and but it's gonna be critical to get at least one, and you're supposed to have balanced registrars, 2 from each party.
Right.
So, it's people, and the tough part about this is, as evidenced by the resignation that we just received, they cannot hold any elective or appointed positions in the town.
Right.
So, somebody who hasn't served or isn't currently an elected or appointed person and a registered voter of that particular party
Right.
needs to step forward and bail us out.
We have had several people express interest, but they're already on appointed
Which
boards and
makes
committees.
sense.
Yeah.
If they, you know, they do volunteer to be on boards, but we're looking for non-volunteers to volunteer.
Right.
Phil, if I can.
Sure.
I know that the Republican Town Committee has a meeting scheduled for September 30th at 7 o'clock, the town library in the historic room. So please do come, all you Republicans.
Okay.
All 9 of us?
Well, yeah, I mean, we have a list of more than that, but, and I had heard that Paul Nelson was trying to get together a meeting of the Democrat Town Party.
Okay, so we're going to try to follow this 45-day time frame. Considering we have no volunteers right now.
That's our only,
Yeah.
but even if they don't make the 45-day timeframe, you still have to find your own, we'll have to find volunteers that aren't on that list.
Okay. That aren't on what list?
The list that the party chairs have to submit to the Board of Selectmen. 3 names on a list, from which you then make appointees.
Okay, so 45 days from now, at the latest, we have to have an appointment, or at least a list presented to us to make an appointment on by October 2nd.
If you get it November 2nd,
October 2nd.
did I say October? It's November 2nd.
November
I'm sorry,
2nd.
I misspoke.
Right,
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
sure.
So this is a 3-person board or a 5-person board?
4. 2 and 2.
2 and 2,
2 and 2 plus the town clerk.
which breaks any ties.
But right now, the town clerk is a registered Democrat, so we have 1 and 1 right now. They desperately need to
Right.
have a third, but you do need to level it out and appoint 1 from each
Okay.
party.
So the next question is, they can't meet because they don't have a quorum. We have to take somebody that's on this list that's presented to us.
That's the statutory procedure.
Right.
But by virtue of receiving a letter signed by the remaining 2 registrars, they're requesting that you appoint a temporary person.
On our own?
Yes,
Okay.
you don't need the committees, the political committees to
Right.
do that.
So we as a board have fulfilled our obligation at this point by sending out a registered letter. We're not in violation of any type of rules at this point.
As far as I understand the law, that's correct.
Okay. All right, that's it, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Anyone else have any questions? Okay. All right, we desperately need 2 on the board of registers, 1 from each party. So if there's anyone out there that would like to help out, that would be great. So, just real quick, maybe, Mike, you can share a little bit what the duties of the board of the registers are, so and if anyone is watching, they can at least get a sense of how much time, energy, and effort it takes to be on the board of registers.
I think Jen,
It's on the website.
okay,
And I
yeah.
might have something there.
Basically, they certify petitions.
Mhm.
They look at the signatures and then check and see if they're registered voters or not. And they actually hold voter registration time periods
Mhm.
where they're, make themselves available for non-voters to come in and register. That's their two basic functions. It's,
Right.
it might be an hour a week or an hour a month. It depends on the time of the, and Doug used to be a
I
registrar.
think if you spent 20 hours, they'd say, why are you working so much?
In the
During
year,
the year.
yeah.
All right.
You can't be unenrolled, you have to be either side, right?
Right.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right, and I don't think that you can just go and enroll and do that.
Right, did you have to go
You
through a
have,
primary?
because you have to have, I think, so much time on the Republican Town Committee or Democrat Town Committee.
Right, so
As such.
yeah, that poses some problems for us if somebody's unenrolled that volunteers to do it. We have to tell them no because they can't join a party until the next election, right?
Oh, this
Our
is
next primary.
Massachusetts.
Yeah, all right.
All right, well, I think we know what we need. Let's see if we can get some help, try and find some folks out there to help out. All right, let's go on to new business. So we have a joint school committee and Board of Selectmen meeting tonight to fill an unexpired term on the school committee. So what I'd like to do is, one is, Barbie, maybe you can come up and just kind of give us a sense of what's happening and explain the the unexpired term and what's going on. And then after we get that, we have 3 requests for appointments tonight. And I'd like to have each of these candidates have an opportunity to come up and help us with our decision to make the right choice for the school committee, along with the school committee.
Okay, thank you for having the meeting with us tonight. Laureen Polignoni had 1 year left, and due to business, her own business obligations, she just felt that it was just too much for her to continue on with the school committee, and we appreciate the time that she put in. She was an amazing member of the school committee, and we appreciate that. So what we did is we opened it up to the community, and we got 3 great candidates here, which we appreciate that as well, because as we all know how difficult it can be to get volunteers to do things. So you have gotten all 3?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the one individual, Sheila Ruth, she cannot be here tonight, but I would still think that, as I haven't communicated with her, but you have.
Just
So,
by email. And she couldn't attend tonight as she teaches on Monday nights.
right, but she was still wanting us to include her.
Yeah, she's still up for consideration.
So,
Okay.
yeah, so it would be for 1 year, and then we would go ahead with the 3-year term.
For 1 year, so does that expire in June 31st of 2016?
No, it would be,
Till the next election.
May
yeah,
goes.
I don't know,
Okay,
yeah.
so it's a year and a half really for the actual term.
No.
No,
No, it would be
Less than that.
May, right?
so May of 2016.
May of 2016. Okay, I'm thinking calendar year,
Yeah.
365 days.
Yeah.
Gotcha, okay.
So, the school committee would love to have someone appointed this evening. We're looking forward to that because we've had a couple of meetings without, that individual, without a 5th person. So, we're looking
Okay.
forward to tonight.
All right, well, I'll let you step down, and I'm gonna bring up our candidates here.
Great.
And I think our first one on our list was Cheryl Lashendro. So Cheryl, if you would please come up, and we'll have an opportunity to get to know you a little bit more.
Okay, I have some background information. I don't know, I did email it. I'm
Yeah,
not sure if
I
everybody
copied
has it.
Yes,
We have
This is-
we have your resume,
Okay.
and we have and a number of letters of recommendation that were submitted on your behalf.
Thank you.
All right, so Cheryl, for the record, would you mind just stating your name and address?
My name is Cheryl Lashendro. I live at 6 Bussing Way in Georgetown.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you very much for the opportunity to consider you for joining the Board of Selectmen. So while we have questions for here as well, I'm hoping the school committee has questions as well. And at any time the school committee wants to either come up here or ask questions from their chairs, that's fine as well, whatever you'd prefer, Barbie, okay? All right. All right, so Cheryl, for the public, we've all had an opportunity to go through your resume, but for the public here, maybe it would be helpful for us to first get a sense from your perspective on, great, I'm gonna let these guys set up, that would be great. All right. Yep. All right. Super. So Cheryl, why don't you, why do you want to run for the school committee? That'd be the first part.
Well, first and foremost, I've been a resident of Georgetown for 12 years, and I take great pride in being a citizen of Georgetown. And as many of you know from my background, I've been a teacher in Georgetown from 1995 to 2014, when I resigned to be home to raise my son.
Sure.
So, as far as wanting to do this, I never have lost my passion for teaching and for education. And I feel like this is one way that I can give back to the community for all the support that I got as a teacher here in Georgetown. I also feel as though being a team player, working on committees working with past and current administrators, that I have a lot to offer. I feel that, wherever I'm needed, I can fill in. And being that I am home raising my son, I have some flexibility in my schedule where I can fill in really wherever needed. I'm dedicated and committed to the children of Georgetown and the families of Georgetown. And I really need people to know that I embrace challenges and the changes that education is inevitable in education. And I think I can really make a difference.
Great, thanks, Cheryl. So for the public out there, I have your work experience and resume here, but maybe you can walk through for the public's sake to help them understand about
Sure.
you as well and your background experience.
Yes, so I started teaching in Georgetown in 1995, and I was a grade 3 teacher, a grade 4 teacher, a grade 5 teacher, and I also taught the Gifted and Talented program for a year. In that time, as a teacher in the classroom, I always put children first and looked at the whole child and what each individual really needed to learn. I built a strong sense of community within my classroom, going beyond families, etc. I used best practices in teaching that were encouraged. We used different assessments to drive our instruction. We differentiated, all those educational buzzwords, so to speak. But my experience goes beyond just the classroom. Over the years, I've served on many committees, many teams, to help our schools. For example, it may be called something different now, but I was on the school-based leadership team where I served as sort of a team leader for my grade level, and we talked about different issues that would come up or changes that need to be made within our school. I was also on the instructional leadership team, which may be similar to the vertical teams they have now, where we would talk about aligning curriculum so that one grade kind of spirals into the next and so on. I was on assessment committees where we selected assessments, effective assessments to use with children. We also, on that committee, we analyzed data from assessments in order to move forward to do what was best for kids. I worked over the years on ELA, math, social studies curriculum committees where we looked at different programs, we looked at different philosophies, we created curriculum at that time. I've been on the School Advisory Council where we created a school improvement plan. This was many years ago. I think it was called that at the time. I've been on the student assistance team where I would sit with teachers to brainstorm ideas to help challenges that other teachers were having with kids. I worked from the beginning of the mentoring program with new teachers that were hired in our district, mentoring them, meeting with them, observing them, having them observe me as a teacher. And I also did some unofficial math coaching. A former principal had encouraged me to help out when we were really looking at open response questions and MCAS type questions, and when we instituted the Everyday Math program.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of teaching, some of the things that I've done over the past 20 years or so is I was a member of the Toastmasters Club. I became a distinguished Toastmaster, went on to be a club president, and I finished my run as an area governor. Most recently, I'm the Newburyport Youth Soccer TOTS coordinator, and I've served on the board for the Greater Newburyport Mothers and Families Club. So that's sort of my background.
That's it, huh?
That's all.
All right. Before I ask our board to ask any questions, I'd like to have Barbie and her board have an opportunity to ask any questions that you may have.
Sure. One question that I would like to ask both of the individuals that are here. In the past, we've had difficulty getting people to actually run for school committee during the election period. The question I have for you is, why at this juncture would you feel, compelled to want to be on the board?
Well, I think that when I left teaching, it was a very difficult decision for me because I am passionate about education, I'm passionate about kids. However, I'm also passionate about my family, and at the time, it's really what was best for my family. So now that my son is 4, I'm certainly not done raising him. However, I feel like I have more time to give. And as I said, whether I'm home with my son or working in the field again, education is always going to be very close to my heart. So I feel like the timing was just right for me right now.
Right. Okay. I can totally understand that. Having 3 kids of my own, it was tough to figure out when you can and can't be out of the house. And so, as far as being a school committee member, it's every other week we
Right.
have the public meetings, and then there's various subcommittees
Subcommittees.
that we would ask that you attend. Some of the subcommittee meetings are held during the day, some are at night. We try to, whoever we're paired up with, try to work around that individual schedule, which is great about the committee. So how do you feel you will be able to handle the various subcommittees that you'll be on?
I definitely, I feel like I have a lot of flexibility. My husband is very supportive, so he can be home if it's an evening meeting or an evening commitment. My son is in school 3 mornings a week over at the Pearly Integrated Preschool. So I have flexibility with my son, and I can really be available when needed.
Great. Do you guys have some questions that you want to ask?
I mean, I've known you for many, many years, and I've seen in action, you've been a teacher for my children, how you put students absolutely first at the center of what you do, everything you do. And of course, that's a huge, priority of the school committee. That is who we're here for. We're here for the students. And I really, so I appreciate that. But for people who don't know you so well, I wonder, if you could think of 2 or 3 words that your colleagues might use to describe you in their interactions with you, and because I know you have taken a lot of leadership roles on in the school.
Leadership.
Yeah.
So as far as colleagues might describe me as dedicated, serious about what I choose to do, and very caring, I would have to say.
I can see.
Makes sense.
Thank you.
Great. I guess my question, I have no doubt, you spoke a lot about teaching, which is obviously a very important aspect of this. As a school committee, we're on the 1,000-foot, 10,000-foot, whatever you want to call it, level, sort of, we're not in the classroom, we're not picking assessments, we're reviewing things, we're working on policies. How is that going to mesh with, you're not going to be in the classroom? which obviously you have a lot of love for.
Right. Well, I think the school committee is looking at the bigger picture, and I think my experience in the schools can help make these decisions, to make these policies which are best for kids. Having sort of been in the trenches, knowing what's worked, what hasn't worked, and what is needed at the time. Does that answer your question? And I guess I think, because I have worked not necessarily just in the classroom on these different sort of subcommittees within my profession, we've had a chance to take a look at budget type issues and, you know, well, why can't we get this? Well, you know, it's a financial thing or whatnot, and that's very real. It's trying to make the best decisions with the resources that we have.
So with the several subcommittees that we do have, budget being one of them, do you feel, where do you think you would fit best and with your expertise?
I mean, in terms of the safety committee, the budget finance committee, the governance committee, the negotiating committee, I mean, I would fill whatever role I was needed. I would assume the person filling this position will take Lorraine's spots, or I don't know. So whatever, I think within the school, I've worked on policies,
Mhm.
which is a governance type thing. I do have some understanding of budgets and budget cuts and why things have to be cut or wait for another year or whatnot. So, you know, safety's a huge thing as a teacher in a school, always thinking what's safest and best for kids. So I think, I really feel after reviewing what each committee does, that I could contribute and fit in any position that I was needed.
Great, well, I want to make sure these folks on my board have an opportunity to ask any questions. So I'll open it to you gentlemen if you have any questions as well.
Go ahead. If you want to go first,
Sure, go
I'll
ahead.
first. So, as a school committee member, and let's be hypothetical that we do appoint you tonight. So my question is, there could be instances where you have to negotiate with former colleagues and make some very difficult decisions and possibly say no. How are you gonna handle that?
Well, I think whether you're a teacher or a school committee member, the overlying idea is that you're a professional. And, you know, I take what I do very seriously, and that may very well happen. I have great respect for my former colleagues, yet I can differentiate teaching and being on a governing body. So that being said, you know, when you have to make a decision, it's really based on facts versus, you know, kind of lead with the facts, not your heart, so to speak. And I think I'm able to do that.
Second question is, if we do appoint you tonight, do you have any plans to continue and run for the open seat next election?
I do. I have been thinking about this for a little while, and where this opening came up, I thought it would be a good opportunity, you know, now, as opposed to waiting until May. But the election in May is always another opportunity.
And I think, you know, my other question, I think was already answered, but how do you apply what you learn in the classroom to governance and being the managing, you know, managing from a high level, the education in the town? So I kind of hit on it a little bit, but maybe.
Right, so, I mean, I would have to say I would take my knowledge of policies and things that that I have followed, and because I have followed policies of our current school committee, and to just, again, differentiate teacher, governing body, use my background knowledge in terms of what's working, what's not working, and
Thank you. And thank you for applying, by the way, and stepping up, so. We're not here to really intimidate you, we just want to get, we have a tough decision to make
Yes,
too,
yeah.
so.
Doug, Gary, any questions?
Yeah, I do. And thanks for stepping up. Dave had mentioned that you were part of the staff and thus part of the union. Do you still maintain ties with the local union or the MTA?
I do not
Okay.
at all.
And then one of the big concerns in any community and what eats up a lot of the budget is the budget for special education. Do you have any background or experience in understanding the needs of special education?
I do. Within my classroom, I've had many students on IEPs, and I've worked very closely with special education teachers in terms of following IEPs, attending meetings, making accommodations and modifications based on those kind of things. So I've certainly had a lot of experience working with children.
Right, and how about working with parents and the needs that they have special needs kids?
I mean, I work with all of my parents very closely. My own daughter was a special education student, so you know, I certainly understand challenges and difficulties that they would have. I can help. I mean, I did help them try to understand their child and what would work for them, and transfer what we're trying to do in the school to help their child at home. So
Okay.
that's,
Okay, well, just because that's such a big portion.
yes, yes.
Just one last question. I view appointment or election to a board or a committee in the town as being a representative of the people. Now, you've told us how you would represent children, okay? But in Massachusetts, unless it's changed, the primary focus of the school committee is the superintendent, and then telling the superintendent what the community would like for education. So could you just, in a short sentence or two, tell us how you would represent the residents of the community, those people that, if you run, could elect you?
Well, I think in my time as an educator in town, in my time as a resident, I've made a lot of connections and relationships with community members. So I feel like my communication, I would certainly communicate with the superintendent what I hear from residents, from people that they need or they're interested in, and we can, you know, move forward together, that kind of thing. Is that what you're looking for?
No, it's not a matter of what I'm looking for, it's a matter of what you would say.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Gary, any questions?
Yeah, I'm gonna have one, Mr. Chair, and then also, when we're done with the candidates, perhaps I might have a question for the school committee.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. It's pretty simple. Have you attended any recent school committee meetings, and/or do you follow them at home?
I have attended a recent meeting. It was probably the last meeting in August. It was the meeting where it was decided to postpone the opening of the middle high school until after Labor Day. I have followed the school committee on TV, and I certainly read about everything in the Georgetown Record. As I've started this process of being interested in taking a leadership governing kind of role, I've read a lot of the minutes that have been published. So I have that experience.
Okay, thank you for stepping out into the limelight of whatever you may call it, and putting yourself into position of having to have a public decision made tonight, so.
Great. I have just one question, and I'd just like to get a sense of your thoughts on Common Core. I'm getting a lot of people with different senses of opinions on stuff, and from an educator standpoint, I would like to hear that, but more from a policy, how would you approach it, and what do you think your thoughts are on where we're going with it?
Right. Well, I've certainly, in the time I've been in education, I've seen many changes, peaks and valleys. And as far as the Common Core standards, my knowledge of them per grade level that I would be teaching, to me, they really ask kids to think at a higher level, which is, I think, one of the things that we really want for kids, is to challenge their thinking and whatnot. In terms of the PARC assessment, which sort of coincides with the Common Core standards, it is sort of a step, it's more challenging than the current MCAS assessment. I do feel like the Common Core standards are trying to grow our kids' brains and help them, achieve the next level.
All right. Are any more questions from anyone in your committee?
Suzanne, did you have any?
All right. Well, then.
Can I sneak one in at the end? What is, having been on both the teaching side and on the having a student in the schools side, what do you think the schools need to be doing more, better? What have we screwed up? Like, what should the focus be? I mean, we haven't screwed up, but like, what needs the most attention?
Well, I think one of the things is our schools are very proactive. And from my experience, we are trying to instill state-of-the-art technology, state-of-the-art philosophies, and I know that we have amazing teachers in our schools. So I wouldn't say that there's one area that this need. I think everything is attended to as needed, and our administrators work very hard to be on top of current trends and making sure that our kids are achieving where they need to be, for graduation, et cetera. So, I mean, I don't see any, big red flag at this point.
I have a question. What do you think your biggest asset is that you will be bringing to the school committee?
I would probably say my work ethic, my dedication, my desire to help, to volunteer my time for our kids, for our community, for the people of Georgetown.
Great. All right. Well, we'll close our questions. Gary, you said you had a question for the
I'll
school
wait
committee?
till
Okay.
the other
Great.
candidate. Thanks.
All right. Well, Cheryl, I'm going to get you back into the chair behind, get you off the hot seat here. Thank you very much for your
Thank you.
comments and consideration again. So our next candidate is Dawn, right?
Mr. Chair, if I could just say something.
Of course.
I just want to say how, to me, this process must be very difficult. Being on the school committee right now, and I think I'm the only one that's actually had an actual campaign that I had to run, and that in itself is, it's very difficult. But I did not have to do what both of you and what Michael had to do when he went through this. So I just want to tell you that I appreciate it, because it must be very difficult to come up here in front of all of us, in front of the people that are watching. So that right there shows me that the dedication is, already there. So I just want to thank you.
All right. So Dawn, for the record, would you mind stating your name and your address?
My name is Donald Valentine. I live in 89 West Main Street in Georgetown.
All right. Dawn again. Don or Donald?
Dawn's fine.
I met you at the bar the other night, like everyone in town. So it was Dawn when we met, as far as I remember. Welcome, Dawn, and thank you for your consideration as well. We certainly appreciate you coming up and stepping up for your potential candidacy here. So, again, we have your resume and some letters of support, which is great. I was hoping that you would tell us a little about first yourself, and then why you want to be a school committee member.
Well, a little bit about myself. I'm a teacher. I teach at Chelsea High School. I'm a history teacher. I've been teaching for 17 years, largely urban education, both Salem, Bedford, more suburbia, and then into Chelsea. I've been in Chelsea now this is my 11th year.
Yep.
I'm also currently working on my master's in history at Salem State and my CAGs in Holocaust and Genocide Studies. I'm actually going to Bosnia, Serbia in April to meet teachers over in Bosnia, Serbia, different schools with the school program.
Wow.
I love teaching. I've always wanted to be a teacher, always enjoyed teaching, always had a passion for history, enjoy working in urban education. It is a challenge, as you probably suspect. And why do I want to be on the school committee is I've been teaching for 17 years, and I've engaged with school committees, superintendents. I've been a union rep. My time is ending at the end of the month. I've been on negotiating teams. And I've seen that perspective of what it's like to be on this side of the table. And I think everything that I've learned from being on this side of the table can transpire to the other side of the table, so I can help the kids of Georgetown and the community. I've garnered a great deal of knowledge in terms of my background and what we do in Chelsea. We've done the DESE mandates of using Understanding by Design. I've been writing Understand by Design, which is what DESE uses as the main curriculum since 1999. I've written all the units in US 1 and US 2 and world history. I've adapted the Common Core as well to all these units. We have a great deal of students. For example, right now, my 3 US history classes have 36, 34, and 32 kids in them. And I do have kids on IEPs. In fact, I have 2 kids that are severe IEPs that I'm by myself trying to manage classes that big. And also ELL kids that are fresh out of ELL 1 as well. And so everything I've learned, and in terms of being a teacher, I think I can bring some very valuable, I don't want to say expertise, but information to the other side of the table to help with not only governance and creating policy, but seeing it from a perspective as a teacher, as also urban, and as some of the challenges I heard special ed being brought up as well.
Right. All right. Thanks for sharing that, Don. So let's open this up for Barbie and your committee. If you guys would start with your questions, that would be great.
I just wanted to ask you, so in your cover letter, you did bring up Common Core. And I know that was asked to Mrs. Lashendra, but I do just want to ask you, what do you think as far as the Common Core? Do you think that it's moving in the right direction? Did you see that MCAS was a test that needed to be revamped, but not as far as Park is going, or what are your thoughts on that?
My feeling of Common Core thinks it needs to be more fleshed out. I see some merits in it. I use many of the standards, but what I often see as you go through the standards of Common Core, I'm kind of using the same standards over and over again, because when you dive into Common Core, the way they word it, if you can figure out the definitions of words they use, it's very similar. And they have this litany of information on there, but you can narrow it down to certain things to target on students, like critical thinking skills, for example, that we work on in our rubric. We have it set analysis, argument, and evidence. And if you look through the Common Core, you'll find all those words embedded throughout it. So I picked out those 3 words tied to our rubric in Common Core, and that's how I built my standards. We're piloting the Park right now in Chelsea. I know they're doing it in geometry and chemistry. I know it's more performance assessment based, which is another DESE mandate that they're trying to move into, which kids are doing performance assessments like DBQs, for example, document-based questions, or these very vast and big projects would tie into all their skills. I just think it got rushed. It got kind of put out there very fast. MCAS, the problem that I personally have with MCAS is like teaching to a test. I don't think in some cases it's fair for all kids. We have kids, that have to take MCAS 5, 6, 7, 8 times to try to pass in order to get their diploma. Granted, they do fine. I've had kids in my classroom who will pass my class, but because, like myself, I'm not a math genius. And I looked at the math MCAS, it's very difficult if you have a difficult time or if you have a learning disability. Park, I'm still learning about. I'm more curious, like being a history teacher, if they're going to, because we don't have a history MCAS. I know the history MCAS got nixed due to budget cuts. We were piling it out when it first came out about 6 years ago. And I'm curious to see if they're going to implement a park in history as well, because I like the park history. It's very involved. They use speeches, they use laws, they use particular events, and they tie it into like a DB2 type question. It seems to be the direction that a lot of schools are going in terms of creating document-based questions.
Thank you.
Right.
We do have a citizen in Georgetown that used to be a teacher of history. And he has come to the committee and he's questioned the way like civics is going with the whole curriculum. And if you could just give me an idea of what you think, if you think we are going in the right direction with the way we're teaching history today.
Well, one of the biggest things that I'm really pushing for in my school, and like in any school, is our kids have no idea about basic American government. When I bring up, can you name the 2 branches of government, I get blank stares. When I bring up how many senators do we have, for example, I get blank stares. Ask who are our senators, I get blank stares. When I ask my kids that monument that's across the Tobin Bridge, what is that? Bunker Hill? They don't know. And that scares me, that whether they're not getting it in middle and elementary school, because a lot of schools go right into world history, then US 1 and US 2. Quite often US 1 is their first introduction to civics, and we only can spend 1 unit on that, which is 4 weeks. It's not enough. And it scares me that they're going out into the real world, not knowing that at age 18 they can vote for the president, they can vote for the governor, and they could vote for their senators and local electors. They don't have any insight to what it means to be a citizen. And I think that's very dangerous, because we're sending our kids out there not knowing that they can make a change, they have a voice. And we are advocating as a department in Chelsea, which I would advocate here, that 12th grade, I think they should have American government, should be required. In some form, shape of American government, civics, however you would build it up. Because some of them go off to college and they never have a government class.
Great.
The final question that I have, so you mentioned that in some of your classes you have 36, 34 kids.
Yep.
So you're looking at a district right now that has, you know, in the high school, we've been very fortunate that our class sizes are small. The elementary schools, small. And to me, small, you know, 20. When we hear in the early, the beginning 20s, the parents start to get a little concerned. So how do you feel you would speak to, like if a parent came to you as a school committee member and were a little concerned, you know, with class sizes are going up, and you're seeing in your school that you have 36, would you have the patience with that parent, or could you, you know, or would it be more so like, you know, come to Chelsea and this is what we're dealing with?
No, I would have the patience because I understand the challenges. I mean, I understand that a town only has so much money.
Right.
We need more teachers in Chelsea. We need 13 more, that's $500,000. We don't have $500,000 lying around. So unfortunately, the kids are getting crammed into classes. And we have to, as teachers, try to figure out how to help as many kids as we can. So no, I would understand that it's very difficult, but you have to make tough decisions. Money can only go so far. And, you know, having 20 to 25 kids, it can, going 5 kids more, it can be challenging, not only for the kids, particularly if you're used to teaching 20 kids and they have, you understand what, you know, your kids' attributes, and adding 5 more kids, you have to pay attention to 5 more kids. I understand the frustration that a parent may have. But unfortunately, at the same time, you have to worry about your budget constraints and money. I'm fortunate in my classroom in terms, I heard technology, you know, I have an LCD player, I have internet access. We're getting smart boards, you know, through grants, which is great, which helps us out a lot. Now, I would hope that, and again, in budgetary constraints, that you can provide teachers with the tools they need to meet their students' needs.
So currently you do not have smart boards in your
They're
system?
not yet, they're coming. Not every classroom, but at least the history window will get 3.
Mhm. Thank you.
What do you think? What do you think you can take from Chelsea, like the most valuable experience or background or experience that you have in Chelsea and bring it to a town like Georgetown? We're obviously a different sort of.
I think one thing that you can bring and prepare students for is life after high school, what the world they're walking into. I know, like, and I'm just trying to compare to understand Chelsea. Like a lot of my kids, they don't leave Chelsea. They don't really know what's outside of Chelsea. They don't know what they're going to experience racism. They go off to college. They're going to experience people that don't like them because they're from Puerto Rico. And they're going to experience that it's a very different world. I'm trying to prepare my kids, which is same in Georgetown, that you leave this area, which in some sense is sheltered, that it's a big, scary world. For example, I'm from Chatham, Cape Cod. My graduating class was a whopping 38 kids. I went to UMass Amherst. That was a change, a big change, a change that I wanted because I lived in this small sheltered town on the Cape, and I got slammed right into the world of diversity at UMass Amherst. And I loved every minute of it. I cherish every minute of it. Loved going to a big school. Learned a great deal not only about myself, but about different people, different cultures, and I have friends to this day around the world that I met at UMass Amherst that I'm still in contact with. Chelsea is very similar in the sense of Georgetown's size. It's only a mile big. And granted, we have 1,700 kids in our school. But these kids don't know much outside their own culture in their school. And I try to teach them that. Outside, you're going to be viewed differently. You're going to be looked at differently. You're going to be treated differently to prepare them for that. And I would think that you would do that in any school system.
What's your,
It's my turn.
what's your purpose, reason, desire, your motivation to running for school committee?
As being an educator, I want to promote change. I care deeply about kids. I want kids to succeed. We have a lot of success stories in our school system. We try to build success stories. I want to be on the other side to try to help a town grow and understand what education is all about. Because, how do I say this? A lot of politicians are out there saying that we're not doing a good job, and that's not true. We work very hard. I'm at school at 6 a.m. every day. I don't leave until 4. Some days, I'm there helping kids. I work in the REACH program, which is a dropout prevention program at school, after school. We have the highest retention rate in the state for our kids, to keep them in school so they don't drop out. But it's changing the scope of understanding what education is about. And I think a lot of people that come in, and I hear, from the federal, state, and local level criticizing us, saying it's our fault the kids are failing. It really drives me nuts, because that's not the case. We're trying really hard. We work really hard. I want to be on the other side to let people know, that teachers work really hard, but we want to give them the tools that they need so they can succeed at their job. I understand the concerns that, you're on the backside and you being a union rep and negotiating team of C and all that, but I've seen how that works. I understand that. I understand there's times where you sit here frustrated on that team, understanding the budget cuts that are necessary because you just don't have the money. We as teachers, like I said in Chelsea right now, are struggling with that. Our gym classes are 45, 47 big. 3 classes at a time in the gym. And we're doing the best we can. We understand there's only so much you can do.
Great. Dan, anyone else on the school committee, any questions?
Yeah, sure. Well, it sounds like you're doing great things in Chelsea, and it's very interesting to hear all about a district that's quite different than ours, but similar in many ways too. As you said, they're all students. I was just wondering, what led you to run for this position at this time in your life? You're, working full time, you're getting your master's degree, and it's a big. It's kind of like a part-time job. I mean, it does require quite a bit of time, and except Barbie here, I think her position probably is more like a full-time job. But
I think that I would become,
do you think you'd have the time?
Yes, I would, and I balance my time.
Quite frankly.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I understand that. I'm almost on my master's degree. I have 1 more year left. This is there right now, and I know how to balance my time. I've always, since I've been 12 years old, working multiple jobs. I put myself through school. I've had to, take classes, work here, do this. I understand that, and I know it's a lot of work. When I worked in Salem, we worked at the school committee. I see what they do. I see how much time they put into it. I have a friend right now. I used to teach with this on the school committee in Salem. And I've talked to him, what do you do, what are your days like, because he's a teacher and all that, and what he has to go through to pick his brain. I understand the commitment. If I wasn't committed, I wouldn't come in here and sit before you. I understand the importance that we have as a school committee to better not only our teachers, our administrators, superintendent, but, you know, be there for our kids as well. Make sure they have everything that we can possibly give them to succeed.
Okay, great, thank you.
All right, I'll open it up to our board if we have any questions. Anyone have any questions?
Oh, I'll go first again if you want. So,
Let's work that way around.
again, I'll ask some of the same questions, although you don't have any colleagues here in Georgetown. Do you see a conflict in you being a member of the teachers union and then having to negotiate a contract here with our teachers? I mean, how's the union gonna react when you say, you know, if you're a member of that union and you're trying to put the best interest of the town along with the kids and, you know, that whole balance? That's a whole balancing act that frankly, you know, is very, very difficult to navigate. So how would you handle that?
Well, Chelsea's in the AFT, which is a little bit different.
Right.
But I understand.
Can you explain that? I'm not sure what EFT is.
American Federation of Teachers. There's two: the Mass Teachers Association and American Federation of Teachers. So a lot of urban schools are in the AFT.
Okay.
I've been on this side, so I understand, and I empathize with their frustration. I completely empathize with their frustration. I get it. It's gut wrenching at times, but at times you have to make the tough decision. What makes sense for your community? Is it worth spending $80,000 on textbooks if, like in my school, we don't use them? You have to make the right cuts, the right choices. Where would it be more sense to spend $80,000 on LCD players so you can project off the wall, PowerPoints, Prezi, whatever it may be, so you can use visuals, because a lot of kids are visual learners. No, I don't really see that there'd be a conflict. I understand, I get it, I've been on that painful side, but I understand that in negotiations in terms of raises and healthcare, it's very tough. I mean, we just went through a brutal negotiation in terms of our healthcare, what we're paying. And we have to try to find, you know, a balancing act of what's fair and what's right, but at the same time, what's cost saving as well. So you don't put the town in danger of going into debt.
So if you were appointed tonight, obviously, well, I don't know if you said this, but I won't put words in your mouth. Will you run for the vacant seat in May?
Yes.
And I guess from a teaching perspective, and I think most of this interview has gone almost as if you were going to be hired as a teacher, which I'd hire you in a heartbeat. But that's not my responsibility. But so how would you take what you've learned as a teacher and apply it in what you've applied in the classroom to the management piece of being on the school committee?
Well, I understand what's needed in the classroom. I understand what teachers need. I understand what I need. I can relate to that. I see what is best for kids and what is best for schools, depending upon the community. Being a teacher, that I know right now, in Chelsea, like what my kids need, and that I would go to, and I do go to school committee members that also work in the community. We talk to them like, we need this. Can you help us get this? Is there a way to possibly fit this into the budget?
Well, again, most of your experiences come at the high school level.
Correct.
We certainly have, we're gonna need some input in the committee on issues around the younger kids too. So I think, any experience there?
I have an 11-year-old and 8-year-old. Granted, they're not in school in Georgetown,
Right.
but I've been on school councils in Peabody, the elementary school. I was on it for 4 years. I was the parent liaison on the school council. On purpose to get to know what it's like to work and be in an elementary school and what their needs are. I've been on the school council in Salem, which is both middle and high school as well. And I have taught middle school, but just way back in the beginning of my career.
Great, thank you. And thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you.
Again, thank you for stepping forward. In reading, excuse me, your short cover letter, it said that you spoke with Mike Hinchliff, and he informed you that there was an opening on the school committee. Could you explain how you and Mr. Hinchliff are associated?
He's my next door neighbor.
Oh, okay.
And he told me, you know, he knows my passion for education. He knows how much I care. You know, he's asked me questions about Common Core. I don't want to say at the local bar, but and also the spot. And
Thank you.
pick my brain about
Only the chairman hangs around the bars.
about the mass frameworks and what my opinion of Common Core, the mass frameworks. Like how you do, what are you doing to reach, you know, kids that have special needs in Chelsea? Maybe to tap into my brain, what we're doing that may work in Georgetown. The different practices, the different, the best practices that we could use. I just told him we're outside, but we just finished it. We're in the middle of NEASC right now, coming in and evaluating our school. I've been on 2 NEASC committees. I'm on the curriculum one. I've done a lot of writing a curriculum. The curriculum you can transcribe to any school system. It really can. The UEDs I write, I know I can use in a suburban school or an urban school.
Okay. And then, what I've heard is you state what was best for the kids, what's best for the schools. But as an appointed or elected representative of the community, I'd like to hear what you think is best for the residents and those that would vote for you.
That their kids are getting a fantastic education, that we're doing,
Well, the question would be is who do you represent?
the people, and that their children are getting the best possible education they could get in this town.
Great, thank you.
Great. Gary, any questions?
Yeah, pretty much the same. So have you attended any recent school committee meetings or do you follow along at home?
I have, over the last 6 months, started to follow home, watching it on the TV, looking in the record and watching the minutes to get to better know my own community, because I've done that because if perchance my kids come here, which is not out of the question, I want to know more about these schools and what I would be putting my 8-year-old, 11-year-old into, in the background of these schools.
Thanks again to you also for stepping out and
No problem.
putting yourself in this position.
So, Don, I have a question, I have a comment, but I'd like to have you comment back to me, because I still have I personally have a concern, I should say, that anyone who is as passionate as you to be a representative for the union and negotiating on behalf of the union is going to go in a non-biased, open mind when negotiating with a union. And I just see a huge conflict there, and help me get over that, because I think that it's, I've been through some union negotiations, and I know the passion that goes with that on both
Yep.
sides. And it would be, it was something that's difficult for me to overcome here, so help me.
I would have a non-biased attitude. It's a different perspective. I can't sit there and think of it from the perspective I'm a union rep or I'm on a negotiating team in favor of, you know, what's best for the teachers. I couldn't do that. That wouldn't be fair. I understand that, and I figured that would be a concern. But I'm looking at it from perspective of this side of the table. What's best for the people, what's best for the community, what's best for the schools and the kids. I think, though, being on that other side, I understand what goes into play. I've seen how negotiations can play out and how rough they can be. I understand that. And I think that's a very valuable learning tool, in my opinion. That I've learned a great deal of what it's like to negotiate a contract. And I've seen the other side come with what they wanted, and I can understand why they would want certain things. It makes sense, right? I would ask the same things. We would want you to work, you know, longer hours, what they ask, right? We want you to be there maybe 15 minutes early when the kids are there to help them out, come into school, transition in. I understand that. I get the reasons why they want that, largely for safety concerns for our school. Because that is a big issue. It's a paramount issue that we have. So no, I wouldn't have a problem with that. And I understand that you're concerned, you know, being a rep, but I would have a non-biased attitude toward that. I've seen what it's like to be on that side. I've learned a great deal why they asked for what they asked for. It makes sense from their point of view, but that's all part of negotiation.
My last question is, you've been in town for a little bit now. What do you think that the biggest challenges as a community with the schools that we're going to face over the next 5 years?
I think, are the kids ready to go out of Georgetown? I see Georgetown is a very small, closely knit community. Are they ready to enter that diversified world? I know, looking up the demographics of Georgetown, there is not a lot of diversity here. There's some, right? And are our kids prepared to engage with the whole, like me, going from Chatham to UMass Amherst? Are they ready for that? Are we preparing them for the 21st century skills with that, to engage with these different types of people? Are they prepared? I mean, I see kids through the little different businesses here in Georgetown. You know, I've met a few at Utterly Divine, you know, say, I'm a teacher, I teach in Chelsea. Because, oh, you teach in Chelsea. Like, oh, like that. It's challenging, but it's not what you think. If you got to know some of these kids, they're great kids. It's preparing them for the real world. That's one of the, I think, the biggest issues in being in some suburban schools. And again, you are, you know, conditioned within your family and the schools. I understand that. Everyone is entitled to their beliefs, but to help them, if they go from here to a UMass Amherst, prepared to engage with many different cultures, many different ethnic backgrounds, many different types of, in terms of sexuality and gender. That's my biggest issue that I want to put forward and help them understand that.
Great. All right, Don. Well, thank you very much for coming up. Thanks again for your consideration. I think you did a good job answering some pretty straight questions toward you. So you're welcome to have a seat to go get comfortable again. And thank you again. We have another candidate who's not here. It's Sheila Ruth. And I don't think, is there anyone here to advocate on Sheila's behalf? If not, I can kind of walk us through what her background is.
There is no one here on her behalf.
Okay. Yes, yeah, they do. All right, so Sheila Ruth has submitted her request to join the school committee as well. I'll just give you a quick background for the public here to understand a little bit about Sheila, since she couldn't be here tonight as she had a conflicting engagement. So start with her education here. Sheila has a master's of business administration. She has done college course work at Becker as a CPA, IRS training, University of New Haven, and done some computer science work. Started off as an office manager in 2000 to 2001 with GEA Environmental Consultants. Moved in 2001 to MF Smith and Associates as a staff accountant and business consultant. She then moved in 2004 to a company called Sidori and Company, CPAs, as a staff accountant. And her experience was as a technical coordinator for the North Atlantic Planning and Special Projects Department, which is a behind-the-scenes administrative backbone for the IRS. And as working in the IRS from 2005 till 2014, she was an internal revenue agent and had a number of roles as a internal revenue agent. And currently is an adjunct professor at a number of universities, starting in 2013 to the present, including Southern New Hampshire University, Merrimack College, and North Shore Community College. So this is a little bit about Sheila. I can't really speak of her because I haven't met her, and unfortunately she can't be here tonight. But I would love to open up to the school committee to comment based on what you've read in her resume and help guide us.
I also wish she was able to be here so we could ask her the same questions that we were able to ask the other two individuals. It sounds to me, like reading through Janet's email transmissions with her, that she definitely wants to get involved in boards within the town, which I think is great. Her resume is, very impressive. I know Dave will probably agree with me that the finance committee, I think, would love to have her.
I circled affordable housing too.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I mean.
She's interested.
I need to historic
Yeah.
commission.
Very, very impressive. I just also wish that I had an opportunity to meet her in person.
Right. Comments? Anyone else on the school committee? Anyone from our board?
Yeah, I would. I should say that I've had business relationships with Sheila while she was looking for homes, just to put that up front. Secondly, in her cover letter, she's stating that she teaches on Monday and Wednesdays. Don't you meet on Wednesdays?
Thursday.
Thursdays.
Thursday.
Okay, thank you. All right, never mind then.
Gary or Dave, questions, comments, anything you want to add?
I'll make a comment, and it's probably gonna go to the question I'm gonna have for the school committee when you ask me. We've obviously seen some well-qualified candidates here tonight, but as this has come along, I think first we had one candidate, then I picked up a packet last week and we had two. And I can remember making the statement to Janet in the office that, man, both school teachers, like, can't we get an accountant or someone in finance? And somebody heard me somewhere. So it's gonna be, I don't think it would, well, it should be an easy decision. I think we've got well-qualified people in front of us. It's, I guess, who we're gonna vote for. But like I say, I've got could I ask my question of the school committee now?
If you'd like to.
And that would be to sort of what I just said. How do you feel your board is rounded out going to that? I mean, do you see that, do you think I don't know you all individually. We've gotten to know each other over the years, but, I'm not sure I know what you all do for work. So thinking of it and your boards, how do you feel it would work? Do you feel a teacher? Because in a way, all three teachers now, I guess. But do you think somebody in accounting and finance would help to round out your board? Or do you feel that a teacher is going to otherwise help you round out the board? So anybody can answer, but
Well, I did have some concerns about that myself. When I go to other communities and I see their school committee members, some of them have, well, a lot of them have just business people in town, which I think that would be great for us to have just someone that is, part of the community in a business sense and maybe not have such emotion that we as parents have with our kids, because it is very emotional at times to deal with the things that we have to deal with, because we do have to put ourselves in a lot of different parents' shoes and make decisions that, are tough. Looking at the two individuals that are here tonight, it's very impressive. They seem extremely busy, passionate about what they do, passionate about, their children, their family lives. To me, just for them to wanna put in the time to help us make the tough decisions that we have to make all the time, work with the superintendent, which, continue the great relationship that we do have with her, as well as with the, I feel, the entire staff of all the schools. We try to do what's right for the community. We deal with the community a lot. People, I think, feel comfortable in coming, whether it's to me, Suzanne, Pam, Michael, and I see that they would feel that way with Cheryl. It will be different with Mr. Valentine, because I don't think many people know him, but do I think that he would come across with two individuals that they do feel that they would eventually be able to do that? Sure. But I just think it's great that they both came forward. And looking at Suzanne, she, worked for the schools. She's done great, since she's been on the board, and she can certainly separate herself. And I also had the same thought that Phil had when he had mentioned the MTA, just talking about the teachers' union and recently going through a negotiation that to me was not perfect by any means. We had some issues, and it was tough. It was stressful on the superintendent. It was stressful on all of us, the kids. the teachers. So that was probably the one thing that I'm just a little concerned with as well with Mr. Valentine. But again, I think just coming here tonight and sitting here, I can only imagine how difficult it is. So I appreciate that again.
I think on my, if I can jump in, I think my perspective, I agree wholeheartedly having a budget and finance person is important. Having been through a budget cycle on FinCom and now one on the school committee side, I think numbers, knowing the numbers and working with the numbers and playing with the numbers is great. I think the reality is when you need to make adjustments based on budgetary limitations, I can say, you know, we should cut that number by $10,000. But I don't know what that means in the classroom setting. I don't know what that means once you translate that into the school world. So while I think having that perspective would be valuable, I also think there's a lot of value to someone who can say, this is the impact that would have in the classroom, and you know, if it's a cut that we have to make, absolutely, but what's, you know, how can we make it actually work at the same time, would be my thought.
Suzanne, Pam, any comments? In terms of what the makeup of your board and?
You know, I agree with Selectman Surface that I think it's a great idea for every public official to spend some time on the finance committee. And I'm so appreciative that Michael has come to us with that experience and background behind him. And I think he's, you know, very strong. He represents a wonderful strength of this committee in budget and finance. So I really, to me, I would like somebody who is very familiar with, I mean, education is a unique profession. And I think, like, I come more from a business perspective, from marketing and public relations, which is relevant to a school district, but I would be more comfortable with people, you know, on the committee who had more educational experience. I mean, I love Suzanne, I love having you here, I do. But I think, you know, it's just so valuable to
Well,
have
I
that
think that we
perspective.
know, you know, as being a teacher, we know what goes on in the schools and we know what goes on outside of the schools, but we also educate ourselves to what is necessary for the meetings that we have, whether it's finance or budgets, things like that. We need to be educated so we can make the decisions.
Gotcha. So one of the things that Sheila says is that, if, to me, her opening line helps me make a decision. It says, "Hi Janet, I am particularly interested in anything that involves finance, zoning, and schools." And when I hear that, that's a great thing to start with. But if you're going for the position of schools, and the school committee, I hope you're here because that's what you absolutely want to do. So it's basically a job interview for a non-paying part-time job. So the good news is with Sheila is that I think that we have many opportunity to take advantage of her skill set in other areas of town governance here, if she's not selected here tonight. And Dave and I are drooling here because I know a few committees that we will probably fight each other for her to join our committees here. Okay. Is there anyone in the public that would like to make any comments before we start our process of going through a nomination? No?
Way too scary.
Okay.
They are scary, aren't they?
Okay, I don't know where you are now. David wants to say something too. Just something I wanna say
would like
before
to
we get to.
outline process here,
Okay,
because
okay.
generally, or at least question or throw it out for some discussion. In the past, when there's candidates for open seats, we generally get a recommendation from the board that they're gonna sit on. So I'm not afraid to make a decision. Everybody in the room knows that. Maybe I had one person agree with me tonight, so that I had a good night.
Who?
So I'm doing really good.
I often
I
agree
want to
with
see the video of that.
I often agree with you.
So my question is, on process, are we gonna take a recommendation from the school committee? Or are we gonna vote on our own, or, you know, because, again, I'm only going by what process has been in the past. In the past is, if there's an open slot on a committee, we get a recommendation from that committee. This is, you know, generally speaking, we get some good recommendations from that particular committee, or some type of input from that committee to say, hey, these are the people that we recommend. So I don't know from a process perspective if that's the way we're going here, or what's the next step?
I don't know if I remember it that way, though.
Yeah, but we've gotten some recommendations that we.
Well, not on a
Michael
joint
was the
appointment.
last person that actually went through this process not too long ago, but just to answer your question, we haven't met in open session to discuss, these candidates, and we haven't met, we have not posted a meeting to do that. Sheila's information actually just came, I believe, on Friday. So to say that we would have a recommendation, this is really the first time that, we've all been together to talk about this.
Okay. And so are you looking for a recommendation or an appointment tonight?
I would love to have that tonight, yes.
But yet you guys
But I
haven't
would-
really met on it yet, and you're expecting us in the first view to, without having the time to think
Well,
about
I
it, to make a
would
decision.
certainly respect the time that you would need if you do feel that you would like to, and we could use that too. It's, you know,
Could we vote
As-
here? Could we vote here?
well, I think what, Mr. Surface is saying is that he may want an opportunity to speak to, the board and meet again.
Yeah, I'm not so sure that, again, to really sit down and think about and kind of digest what we heard tonight.
Sure.
You know,
Right,
if
prior
you
to
guys
sitting
haven't
down,
done it, right.
we've only had, you know, this on
Right.
paper, and it is very nice to be able to actually, you know, see the person individually and see the passion that they have. So, our next meeting is Thursday, this Thursday, so we could certainly, you know, discuss it and then prepare a recommendation for you, at your next meeting, and then move forward if that's what you feel would be best for you.
Hey, I was just throwing that out from a process
Sure.
perspective, and
Yeah.
I think there's no danger of you not having a meeting due to lack of quorum, because you still have 4 out of 5, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
So,
We haven't had a problem. We have very dedicated
yeah,
committee members here that attend all the time.
yeah, I'm just throwing out ideas. I mean, I don't know what the rest of the board's thinking, so.
Yeah, well, let's hear, we're up for,
Well,
we're flexible.
If I can jump in, the statutory process is, it's a joint appointment
Okay.
by both boards. And, you know, a nomination or whichever candidate receives 5 votes from the 8 people voting, 8 tonight. If you wait another meeting, you know, you'll have a full board, there'll be 5 selectmen and 4 school committee. This is a kind of a fair fight here, if, it's not a fight, but, it's gonna take at least 1 vote from the Board of Selectmen if this committee votes
I get you.
all together.
So gentlemen, on our side, are you prepared to vote this evening, or would you like to allow the school committee to have a deliberation and make a recommendation to us?
If I may. I'm prepared to perhaps do a bit of deliberation here amongst ourselves now that we've heard the candidates, perhaps a vote tonight.
Okay. Doug?
Well, I really think that the school committee is the primary movers on this. And because there'll be a person on their board that has to work with them. And I'd certainly like them to be able to have the discussion with themselves. So I would be on the side of, you know, just holding off until they can have their open meeting.
I don't have a preference. I could go either way myself personally this evening. So, Barbie, you and your board, if that's what you would like to do, or would you like to vote tonight? We can make a decision tonight. It's up to you. Your board as well.
Yeah, I, personally, I think that I would like the time to sit down and speak with them.
Okay. Well, I think that would be fair to the candidates here this evening. I think that we've, I hope you're not that disappointed that you're going home without a decision this evening, but we promise we won't hold it up that much further. You all three candidates. Sheila's not here. She brings a different perspective to this whole conversation, and I think it would be worthwhile for you to have that conversation with Sheila as well. What I heard tonight are two very capable individuals who I would have no problem at all voting in confidence this evening for either one of you. And I hope you guys look at this as that we are pleased that we have such competition for such a voluntary position in the town. And we want to make sure that we're making the best decision for you as the school committee is this evening. So your next steps, you're meeting on Thursday, you said this evening?
We are meeting on Thursday, and what I can do is reach out to Sheila and see if she could possibly attend that meeting, since that is not a meeting, a night that she teaches. So we'll see if she can attend, but I will ask that the committee be prepared that evening, because I don't think it's fair to prolong it for everyone, as well as for the committee. We need
Right.
to have somebody.
Yep, absolutely.
Can I-
And Don and Cheryl, it's an open meeting. I'm not gonna ask you to attend, but it might be worthwhile for you to, if you're free that evening as well, to advocate on your own behalfs and go to that meeting as well. While we take recommendations very seriously, not every vote goes that way. So even though the recommendations might come up, if there's a strong rationale behind us to consider alternatively, we do look at it that way as well. So you just never know. Sure, Gary.
If we continue to ask on procedure, now even if they get a recommendation.
Yep.
And it may not be unanimous, how will the voting procedure go? We will still vote individually, or we vote as a, if I remember right, we perhaps each vote as a committee? Or do we vote individually and whoever gets the most votes?
So we vote all together.
If
And
we're
we-
correct, that's.
Yep, and whoever gets at least 5 votes and the majority of the votes. So someone will make a nomination, both persons could be nominated, and whoever gets the most
Yeah,
votes.
so I guess what I'm saying is, even though they may have a recommendation, if it's not unanimous, there could be two that still are gonna vote the way their heart, or, they may choose to vote with the committee and be
Absolutely.
that way, but they still will have the opportunity to vote how
Yep.
they wish.
Absolutely,
Is that,
yes.
So would we attend?
Yes, we
You'll
need
have to be
Yeah,
here
so
still
again.
need to do a
Have a
joint
joint
appointment.
yes, so,
I have a question, Mr. Chairman. So I was under the impression that an unexpired term on the school committee was to be filled by the Board of Selectmen, not a joint appointment.
That's incorrect.
Okay,
It's a
so it's
joint.
a joint appointment,
Yes.
and a majority of
The
those
collective.
present. Okay,
No, the majority of those on the boards.
right,
So
Got it.
you still need to get 5 votes.
5 out of 9.
Okay. Our next meeting is on the calendar for October 5th
There is
at 7 PM here.
there's a question in the
So,
audience now.
can I just clarify the process a little bit more? So at this upcoming school committee meeting of ours, are you expecting us to take a vote or just to discuss? And if,
And we would be prepared to make a recommendation.
Yes, but.
And that
but is
does
that a
not-
vote?
So my question is, what is the purpose of our recommendation to you?
Right.
It's to help us with the decision. So you would vote on a recommendation. That doesn't mean you voted for a school committee
Non-binding.
member. It's not binding, and you would just, it will help us to get a sense and obviously ask you for an explanation of the recommendation.
And it certainly could be 3-1, it
Sure.
could be, it doesn't necessarily, hopefully it won't be 2-2.
So,
It could.
so we are voting this Thursday?
You're voting for just a recommendation.
recommendation.
Then we will come back
So
on
it's not
Monday.
an official
It's
vote.
an unbinding vote, a non-binding
Unbinding
vote,
vote.
yes.
And then on Monday, October 5th, when we come back here, then we will all
Yep.
finally take a vote.
That's right.
And are these two candidates who have spoken so eloquently and taken all this time to explain their positions and why they're here, expected to speak again? And
No.
you mentioned advocate for yourself again, or?
Well, that's for your board, your committee meeting, because especially if Sheila comes, I
Right,
mean,
we are gonna invite,
This is,
invite Sheila to attend. And I understand where Chairman Trapani is going with that. Certainly, if that would be something that I would want to attend, but certainly not required to attend on Thursday evening.
Okay.
Also, if you could let Janet know if she is gonna be there, maybe some of our board may want to attend just to
Absolutely.
meet her. I know I would try to.
Yeah.
Sorry to extend this for you, but as you can see, we want to make sure we do this, and we make a decision that's best in the best interest of you and the best interest of us as well. So that's all we have tonight right now. I want to, for the school committee, for Ms. Lashendro and Don, and there a comment from the audience?
You asked for comments or
Yeah.
questions from the audience, and I wasn't prepared at
Oh.
that point. But I do have just a comment as a member of the community
Sure.
who's been in the school system for many years now and has attended multiple meetings in here.
Amy, before you, could you just say your name and address for the
Amy
record?
Purcell, 12 Davis Lane.
Thank you.
If I'm looking from the outside in, you all have a very difficult decision to make tonight, because they're wonderful candidates. I would pick one over the other only based on, my experience and her dedication to the school system and the community in Georgetown for many years. So if you were appointing someone on your board, would you take someone that did not have the experience someone that lived in Georgetown or went through the school system in Georgetown type of thing? So I think as a community member, I would probably vote for someone who has the experience of living and working in Georgetown. Nothing against you. So that's my thing.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. All right. I'm gonna allow you, if you wouldn't mind, to
Yes.
to adjourn your meeting.
We will
So you
adjourn our
guys, you're
meeting.
welcome to stay.
And again, we appreciate you meeting with us. So we will adjourn the school committee meeting at 8:39 p.m.
Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you all for coming in this evening.
Chairman, make a motion to recess for 5 minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're gonna go to recess for 5 quick minutes, and then we will continue our agenda. Thank you.
Oh, you did? When was that?
She looked in the window.
Okay, we're back from recess here. So let's continue to move on the agenda. Our next order of business are liquor licenses for 1 day at Camp Dennison for, first is the Partners for Georgetown Football. So Amy, if you would please come on up and you can help us understand what you're asking for.
Okay. Basically, the Partners for Georgetown Football is looking to do a fundraiser to raise funds for the football program. We are petitioning to have the Newburyport Brewing Company come in and offer and serve beer and wine during an event at Camp Dennison on October 3rd from 7 until 11. Have a band, we're gonna have food provided as well. So this is a big this is gonna be our only fundraiser for the year.
Oh, okay, great. Well, anything that says, at this type of venue with it, I'll probably be there. This would be great. This is really nice that we're starting to take more advantage of Camp Dennison down there.
It's an excellent place.
All right.
So I have spoken with Lieutenant Hatch, and he will assign police detail for the event. We have the certificate of insurance.
Yeah, that's not part of our pack.
It was extra that I
Okay, thank you.
sent it to
Right,
me
right.
today.
I've got enough paperwork here.
Very
Okay. Somewhere there. As long as we have it, this will make sure.
All right, Amy, first of all, thanks for coming in this
Yep.
evening. Thanks for being patient. I'll open up to our board to ask any particular questions.
So you have food, you have a detail, you have the insurance. We've done these in the past, right? As far as this type of fundraiser?
I haven't individually, no, but
The association has though, the football association. Didn't we go
not
to
at
one?
Camp Dennison.
That was the lacrosse.
Oh, that was lacrosse.
It's
okay.
going to be similar.
It's the
to
same
lac-
parents,
it's-
generally the same people.
It's similar to the lacrosse, lacrosse fest,
All right.
yes.
I have no problem with it. Good luck with it. We'll probably be
Thank
there.
you.
Doug or
No.
Gary, any questions?
Not really, I mean, with the money that you raise from these things, it goes for equipment, and
Mostly for the safety of the players, equipment,
does any of it go towards like paying trainers or?
no.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve a one-day liquor license for October 3rd, 2015, from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Sorry, 7 to 11.
Oh, 7 to, all right, because it says 6 to 10.
Yeah.
Oh, it's changed. I didn't get the change, so I'm gonna take Phil's change here. So I'll take that back. So I make a motion to approve a one-day liquor license from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. For the Partners for Georgetown Football to be held at Camp Dennison on October 3rd.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All right, Amy, can't wait to join you down there.
I
It
have
sounds like a lot of
tickets
fun.
if you want.
Georgetown, we have to buy ours from Georgetown.
All right,
Thank you very much.
thank
I know.
you.
Thanks.
Do I need to do anything further?
Nope.
Okay. Do
I'll
I need
get
the
that.
permit?
I'll give that to Doug. And
Will, okay. Thank you very much.
Done.
All right. Kim, come on up. We have another application for a one-day liquor license from the Bagnell Education Foundation. Kim, if you would, state your name and address for the record?
Kimberly Dowling and 4 Valley Farm Road in Groveland,
Excellent.
Massachusetts. So this is our second annual Taste of Autumn is what we title it. And last year we had 2 breweries and 1 cider. So this year's 2 breweries and 2 ciders. And last year it was a very successful event. With the profits, we bought 3 smart boards for the kindergarten classrooms. And so to date, we have purchased smart boards in every classroom at Bagnell through Bagnell Education Foundation. And it's been around for 20 years. Started with a teacher who was going to get laid off, and at that time, they were able to raise the money to save the teacher's position. That doesn't usually happen now, but that was a long time ago. And from then, it just kept a small group of parents that help enhance the curriculum, where the budget isn't able to give everything that the teachers require. So we're there to supplement that.
Well, Kim, this is near and dear to my heart. I just got off the golf course for the Georgetown Education Foundation. So I've been on the board for that for a few years. So we, like yourselves, do some really fantastic stuff to help supplement some of the budget issues that the schools have. So you guys had a great event last year, I heard. Raised some nice money and had no issues over there. Gentlemen, do you have any questions or comments?
One quick question on the certificate. Should that say the town of Georgetown and Camp Dennison, or is it inherent because we own the camp?
We own the camp.
On the certificate, Mike. We own the camp, I realize that, but should it say the town of Georgetown
So
and
the
Camp
certificate-
Camp Dennison, or just Camp Dennison? Is it additional insured?
As an additional insured, it should say the town.
No. Right?
Okay.
So
We'll
I
ask
think we
you
have
to.
to just straighten that out.
Which
Ask
one
you-
is that? Which?
The certificate of liability insurance, it just holds, the certificate holds Camp Dennison. I think one should be issued for the town also. It should be.
And which brewery is that? I'm sorry, at the top.
Down East Cider.
Down East Cider. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Questions, gentlemen, comments?
Hi, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve a one-day liquor license for the Bagnell Education Foundation for October 16th at Camp Dennison from 6 PM to 11 PM.
Second. Okay, we have a motion, a second. All those in, any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All right, just update that certificate of liability.
Okay.
And have a great event.
Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Kim, for coming in.
Thank you.
Okay. Number 10, the home project funding agreement. So Howard is not here.
Well, we can shed a little light on this.
Yeah. So Dave, why don't you start?
Okay, so from what we have here is an agreement to accept money that's, that the town of Georgetown is eligible for under home funds. We have specifically used the home funds to supplement our rental assistance program, and that basically what this agreement is to collect some money back that we've dispersed in our rental assistance program, which has been pretty successful, I would say, over the last 2 years, and continues to help out people that are having some issues while they're retooling, going back to school, extenuating circumstances. There's certainly a rigorous process that they go through to stay qualified, and there is a time limit on it. Again, off the top of my head, I want to say 24 months is the maximum that we can go ahead and help people out. One specific case for that length of time, I want to say it's about 24 months, but we as a board approve those requests and have certain criteria that people have to meet in order to be eligible. So basically, this allows us to get reimbursed for our portion of the home funds that are again through HUD agency that we're able to get some money back. So, I mean, this again has been put to good use. It's just a matter of getting reimbursed.
So I'll just add a little bit more to that. Dave did a really good job, I think, of explaining what this is for. The eligibility is for $8,323,000. There are funds that are available for the program year in 2014 coming back to us.
Say that number again, please, Mr. Chairman.
$8,323.
There you go.
What did I say?
328,000, but that's be okay. But take that too.
$8,323.
It's getting late.
And this agreement, you guys probably want to know where this agreement came from. This is from home. This is from the state, so it really has not been modified.
And reviewed by our legal.
And reviewed by our legal, right. Can I get a motion to approve the home project funding agreement?
You know I are on the committee, so maybe the motion should come from someone else.
I I don't think I supported this last year. To me, I read this, it's a pretty looking scary agreement that we're getting into with the city of Peabody. And I don't think I supported it last year, and I don't think I'm going to this year. I think last year we got 6,000 and something. So,
The city of Peabody is just a sub-grantee, it'll go through them.
the way this reads, I read it over, to me,
It's just a paying agent, that's all, they pay on behalf of the state. So, all right, I'll make the motion then. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the home project funding agreement as presented.
We've done this, I'm sorry, I'll second it, and then we can have discussion.
Okay, motion's been second.
So is this the second year, third year?
second.
Second year.
And the purpose of it is to provide rental assistance
That's what we use the money for, yes.
to those under certain income guidelines, et cetera.
And they have to present their case, and they have to go through a rigorous approval process with Howard and the Affordable Housing Trust.
And the money comes from this grant?
Yes. We've already spent the money.
Oh, you already
This is-
have?
Yeah, you have to show that the money that we're eligible for, and that the program is eligible for the money. This is to get reimbursed.
All right, this is just for the reimbursement?
Reimbursement.
Okay, all right.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Aye. All right. Let's,
Any opposed?
any opposed, I'm sorry.
Nay.
Nay. All right, motion carries. All right, Fred, while you're here, why don't you come on up and we'll take care of the fire chief contract.
Give me
I thought I recognized you.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you.
All right,
Where
all
the heck
right.
did I put that?
Fred, for the record, would you just state your name and address for me, please?
Hey, my name is Freddie Mitchell Jr. I live at 1 Tupperware Drive, Unit 308, North Smithfield, Rhode Island.
All right. So for the public, Fred was selected as our new fire chief to replace Fire Chief Al Beardsley, who had just retired. And hopefully he's enjoying his retirement. I've seen a few Facebook posts. Sounds like he's got a little too much time on his hands. So we have a fire chief contract, and this is the same exact agreement that we had from the other night in our executive session, gentlemen. The one page that was omitted that night was page
4 and 5.
4 and 5.
Actually, Mr. Chair, what, it was pointed out during that session that the education reimbursement wasn't in the contract. I thought it was in the later pages. It wasn't. So if you look at page 3, section 9, in the second paragraph,
Gotcha.
it
Right, the terms that we
inserted
came to
as
agreement
well
with.
as 2 courses per year totaling $4,200 per year towards attainment of a Master's of Public Administration degree through Anna Maria College.
Gotcha. There it is. Okay. Okay. Well, if we are ready to, any comments or questions before we vote on this?
Mike, on that, if I
Yeah, go ahead.
could have the floor, Mr. Chairman. Why are we making it specific to that particular school? And my only question on that is, if the chief decides he moves in, moving into this area and he wants to transfer his credits to, Merrimack College, or, are we,
Because that's what he asked for.
all right, is that okay with you?
No, that's perfect, because the program's online. I do everything online, so
That
I
is-
can be sitting anywhere
Alright,
to log in to do my schoolwork. so.
Okay, if you were gonna transfer those
Yeah,
to a
no, I
Salem State or
appreciate that. Yeah.
wherever, Harvard University or wherever you wanna move it to locally here.
Right.
But if it's online, then that's fine.
Mhm.
Okay, that's my only question, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Well, then if I could get a motion to approve the employment agreement between the town of Georgetown and Fred Mitchell Jr.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the employment, well, you know what, hold on one second. Do we all sign this? Okay, yep. I make a motion that we approve the employment agreement between the town of Georgetown and Fred A. Mitchell Jr. for the position of fire chief for the town of Georgetown, contract as presented.
And a second.
I'll second that.
All right. Any further discussion?
If I may, and that's, Fred, I don't believe you're a licensed mass EMT at this time, and
Okay.
I'd like to know where you are with that.
We're starting the process. I wanted to get this straightened out first, and then I've already had discussions with Nick Valentini about getting my Mass EMT license, and basically, I can get somebody, because we just went through it in Rhode Island, our research, so I can get my skills signed off, so I have to apply, because Massachusetts is civil, is National Registry, so I have to apply through them, and then take a written exam. Actually, it's online, it's a computer generated.
So I guess what do you feel is the timeline on that?
We're gonna get started on that this week with the process. So I'm hoping within the next 30 to 60 days to get that straightened out.
There's no reciprocal agreement with
No,
that type of...
no. I've been an EMT for 29 years,
Mm.
basic licensed, recertified every 3 years in Rhode Island.
Mm.
So, and for them to,
It's funny, there's not, no.
yeah, reciprocating
Yeah,
agreement.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
potentially on where I'm working now, on mutual aid, we go into Massachusetts. Potentially, if we send, and it's happened, and we've sent, I've been on the engine to go to North Attleboro
Right.
and standby and done medical calls. So we work based on our Rhode Island protocols as a basic.
I just would question, should we put something in there? I mean, I think he's been doing this all his life, he's probably gonna get it, but what if he doesn't?
I think we can cover that in the review process, Gary, if I
Yeah.
can make a suggestion.
Okay.
We could be able to cover that in the review process and put a plan together that says, it hasn't been done. If it, by some chance, hasn't been done, then put parameters in place that says it has to be done by a certain point in time.
My worst case scenario is back to school. That's my worst case scenario, back into the classroom to get my EMT license.
Gotcha. All right. Any further discussion?
Just so as Fred knows, I will be voting nay on the contract. Fred, they sort of lost me in some of what we've been going through. It's mostly financial, so.
Okay. All right. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
One nay. Welcome to Georgetown
Thank you.
officially.
I look forward to
All
it.
right. We
We're
we
We
are excited to have you here.
And then we'll
Yeah.
have Fred sign it.
Mr. Chairman.
And then you start, what, October 1st?
We need to know appointment.
Sunday, October 4th, I'll take over. October 5th, I'll be in
Okay.
the station.
Okay. We're not letting you leave until you sign this.
Two copies.
No, I'm not going anywhere.
Pass it down here.
Yes, please.
Do we have to do it simultaneously, once this is signed, do an appointment tonight? Probably should, right? Effective October.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know, it's signing. Okay. All right. You wouldn't mind signing this as well? Absolutely. Thank you. It's 2 copies.
Doug, that's the guy. The home consortium thing. Home fund thing.
For us,
two places to sign on this, Dave?
Just one, I think, there's just that one, 'cause the one above is the trust
Okay.
signatures.
Give me yours.
Oh, okay. Steve voted nay on that one,
Great.
Your copy.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Look forward to
It's
working
up
with
this
you all.
week.
All right,
Thank
well,
you.
you've been up,
Appreciate it.
I know you've been coming up on, every Monday for the last month or so now.
Yeah.
And, your official first date is October 4th?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that'd be Sunday, and then Monday I'll be in,
What's the
regular
con-
first week, so.
Does the contract say October 4th or October 1st?
October 4th.
October 4th.
Okay, so,
Make an appointment.
yeah, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we appoint Fred, I wanna get the full name with the initial.
Mitchell.
A. Mitchell.
Junior.
Junior, as fire chief of the Georgetown, town of Georgetown, for a term to begin October 4th and expire on, do we do it, how far do we out do we go, just to the next June?
17th.
Oh, we can go that far?
2017.
2017.
June 30th.
June 30th, 2017.
It says 18 here.
Oh, 18.
2018.
15, 16, 18,
I'll second
3
that.
years, yeah.
Okay, we have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor of the appointment?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, you're official.
One abstain.
Thank you. And one abstain.
Welcome,
Okay.
chief.
I will, I'll reach out to you.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Look
We're
forward to
really
working with you.
excited to have you here.
Thank you, I
Really
appreciate it.
appreciate it.
Thank you, Doug. Look forward to working with you. All right.
Welcome.
Thank you. Look forward to working with you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, sit right back, my friend.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
You just
Mike,
blew the ears of the
Oh,
other
better
guy.
super
You're
Good
welcome.
seeing you. We'll see you
Yeah.
soon. Thank you. Have a good night, folks. Thank
Did you watch the race yesterday?
Yes, I did.
Good ending?
Oh, it's a great ending. While on my phone, I was listening to the fire in Haverhill.
Oh.
Yeah. And I had Chief Beardsley provided me with a packet, and I had the run card. So I had the run cards out. I was getting some text messages from a couple of close friends of mine that are, chief officers in the area, and can you believe this? I said, oh yeah. I says, you guys there? Oh yeah. And the third alarm, the ladder truck goes in. So I'm sure the guys were working yesterday. That's
Oh, yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
And then when you hear a Topsfield engine covering and Londonderry units coming down,
I know, I saw that.
yeah, it was something. So I just a quick note. Last Thursday, I had a small mill fire in Cumberland. Thank God for the sprinklers, or we would have been on CNN having the headline news. And I'm thinking to myself, that wasn't very good for me. Coming up here, you just burn the mill fire.
Leaving town, burning down Rhode
Yeah,
Island.
exactly. So.
All right, Fred.
All right, thank you very much. Have a good night, folks.
Thanks,
We'll see
Chief.
Take
You have a
care.
good evening.
Yeah, you too.
There you go, Mike.
We'll lose that. Okay, what do we have left here? For the selectmen's report, so we got a and that's not here tonight. Here we got a proposal for scope of work from the Collins Center. So Mike, let's get that out this week for these guys to review. I don't think we have it here this evening. I don't have a copy of it. And they haven't probably seen it. But maybe we can talk through it, and maybe it's worthwhile, then I guess we can talk through it then.
Take one.
Take that front for Stu.
Okay, so this is a proposal for our strategic planning initiative that we're trying to do. So Mike, you've had a chance to kind of walk through this with Michael Ward and Kelly, was it, that was here?
Kim
Kim, rather?
Kim Kelly.
Kim Kelly.
Mike is her supervisor, but he just provided the cover letter. I haven't had any conversations with him actually since last summer.
Okay, great.
So that's just the cover letter. The plan was developed by Kim Kelly, who came before the board in August.
Yep.
During the discussion, the Collins Center does a lot of consulting to municipalities. Their real strength, or what they've been focusing on, is performance management and performance management. And her initial proposal was very performance-centric. And during the discussion and after, when I talked to her, I told her that, and I said we wanted more of a traditional strategic plan, where you have goals, you have a vision and a mission and goals and objectives. And then once you set all that up, then you can start doing performance measurements to see if you've, if you're achieving these goals and objectives. But that's not what we want at this time, the performance part. We just want to get the vision and then develop a mission statement and goals and objectives. So this is phased, and they've broken it down as this basically is phase one. We're going to get, and they talk about 3 meetings, but it's 3 meetings in one. There'll be different phases of the day-long visioning. It will last almost, the whole day from 9:30 to 2:30, but they'll break it out with different parts of the same meeting. They refer to them as meeting 1, 2, and 3.
Right.
But they want the town to have a steering committee as part of this. So they'll more like insiders that actually know what we're doing now. And to work with the outsiders, or we definitely need people new to the town and old, but to give us a broader vision, get more input. So it's not, and so we have, as I said, a broader input for the vision statement. And by the end of the day, the steering committee will take the input of everybody at the meeting and draft a vision statement, and then put it back out in that meeting, and get feedback, and instantaneous feedback from everybody that's at the meeting. And then once they have a good vision statement, of course this will all be assisted by the Collins Center staff. They'll have at least one and maybe more consultants there floating around the meetings, the different tables at the meetings, asking leading questions, not meant to get any predetermined outcome, but to just keep the conversation on track, keep it focused. When we had that Saturday meeting a couple years ago, we did have a consultant there, was Mike Ward, but the meeting did go a lot, got too broad for what we wanted to do there. We were trying to prioritize, and instead of prioritizing, we ended up adding even more. So it still was a good attempt, and we still have the notes from it, and I think they can be brought out and utilized in this setting as well. But at the end of the day, literally, not figuratively, we'll have the vision and goals, and then the consultants would prepare a final report that will allow us then to move forward with the rest of the strategic planning session, strategic planning development.
Mm-hmm.
So in this first phase, Kim had mentioned the entire process would be in the neighborhood of $15,000. So this first phase, they're looking. They feel the fee would be $5,000 for this area.
And this is all done in one day?
Yes.
It seems like an awful lot of input for 5 hours, so, and then to be able to have everybody, if it's well attended, to have everybody have input into all the different, so you don't have one group saying this and one group doing this and another group doing that. Everybody should have the same ability to input to however they're gonna handle all this.
That's how it essentially works, though. You
It
get.
just seems like an awful lot for 5 hours.
It's a full day, absolutely, but I've been involved in these, and you know, as long as that's the key to the staff, keeping everybody on track and focused, and that's why we're paying them to do it.
Yeah, I've learned in my experience that if we said that this was 9:30 to 5:30, we'd get just as much accomplished as we did from 9:30 to 2:30. Only because the longer you give, the less focused you are, and the longer you give on time. And the beauty is that this isn't a one-shot deal either, right? So if we have to come back and we haven't completed everything we need, it needs to be completed as a deliverable from day, this first meeting, we can regroup and pick up where we haven't left off. So this is a project within the program here.
And when they talk about an environmental scan, they look at they use an acronym, it's escaping me now, but you look at your threats.
SWOT analysis.
Yes. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And that helps you then develop your goals after that.
Yep.
Do we have money in the budget?
Yes.
For this?
Yes.
It's been set aside or coming out of free cash?
No, it's in the administration budget.
Registration budget?
And we had picked a date. Is the date cast in stone? It's the first Saturday in October. I have it on my calendar.
No, we moved it to October 17th.
Should get that on my calendar right now.
Yeah. Okay.
We reserved the Pembroke cafeteria.
Oh, good.
Nice.
Good. I think this is great. I think the process that we're doing this allows a lot of flexibility in the way that we're trying to get information out, and taking that information and actually revisiting it, and then that will help us prioritize. So, I mean, you guys know, I'm pushing to try to help us at least, give something to, my successors and you guys, to give you some sort of a long-term document to figure out where to prioritize going forward for the town. So, I'm hoping that we can agree to book these guys and get going on this. I'll work out the details with Mike and give you guys a little bit more detail on what these meetings are. I know it's a little verbose, if you will, but we'll get a more practical information for us, how this stuff will get done.
Well, I fully support,
If I may, Mr. Chair.
Sure.
I guess, we have it, what would this be, within the selectmen's budget, you have the money for this? But,
No, it's in the administration budget.
okay, but that doesn't fall under us. Okay. I know there's some things that fall under us. I'm just trying to understand the budget review and where it is in a line item in that.
The administration budget is, it includes the town operating expenses, and we have a number of, with the IT, all the outside
I
things
guess
we do
where I'm going
with
is
consultants.
what board or committee does it fall under, and do they support it?
It falls under it's
The-
the town, it's administration, so it's the town administrator and the selectmen.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what
Yeah.
it does fall under, but now, if I can continue, I mean, this is just the tip. I heard, this is 5,000, I heard 15 mentioned, but do we look at that going over 15 in the future? And will we be able to, I expect next year's budget to be very, very tight. Do you hope to have
No,
this?
we have the whole 15 available this year.
And so you hope to have this done for, well, it probably wouldn't be for the next budgeting.
Within this, right.
It would be done towards, I guess, the end of our fiscal year? Is that what it
Yes.
means by the end,
Yes.
or does it mean by the end of this year? Because it said at the end of 2015. Is this just this one aspect of it, or is that?
Yeah, this will be finished, this first step, the visioning project phase will be done by the end of this calendar year.
Okay.
And
And we
then,
would pick up on the.
Yeah, after the first of the year, I'm sure.
yeah, between January 1st and June 30th, we should be able to complete the entire project.
Mr. Chairman, can I make a suggestion that we ask them under number 4, deliverables, to give us a timetable and a cost projection for the entire project? Here it says timetable, right? I think we should have something in there for the entire project and the deliverable, what that deliverable will be, total project, and what the maximum cost will be.
Yeah, 'cause I thought when she was here, I remembered more than 15,000.
No, that's why I thought we were. No, she had mentioned some monies, but it was much more them doing a lot of the stuff versus us.
So I'd have them add the actual timetable for the entire project rather than this particular piece, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they added another line that said, another number that said overall timetable, overall, final, or
Mhm.
overall deliverable. what we're gonna get and what's expected, how many more meetings and what cost.
Got it.
Okay. So we can dictate what we want to not exceed $15,000 with the services that were being offered, but that's pretty much what I'm comfortable spending this year, investing in for our fiscal budget year. I don't want to go over that. But I guess if it would be possible that we could make a motion to
Enter into phase
enter
one.
into a phase one agreement with the Edward Collins Jr. Center for Public Management for the Town of Georgetown Strategic Plan Development proposal as submitted.
Understanding that the entire project, when finished, will not exceed $15,000.
Understanding that the entire project, when submitted, will not exceed $15,000.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
All right, discussion.
We'll have that before this meeting, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we have, our next meeting is the 5th
Uh-huh.
of October. It'll be
I guess.
12 days before the final session. Before the first session.
Gives us plenty of time.
Yeah, we just gotta start getting the word out there.
So if we have a chance to vote on it again at the next meeting, I mean, do we need to vote tonight? I guess that would be more my question.
Well, October 5th, they've got work to do. They have got to work with us to start planning the meeting, prepare brief opening remarks, facilitate, etc. I don't know how much time they need to prepare for this, but
Plus, we're gonna wanna get the word out.
I need to
too.
get the word out as well.
That's the
How we're gonna
most
advertise
important
it.
part, getting people to
Yep.
show up.
Okay.
And I think the sooner we start, that way people won't be filling in their calendar. Hopefully that far ahead.
I mean, like most
We
of the
almost had a conflict with the
The Mike Donahoe.
Donahoe race. Happens to be on Sunday.
Right.
If it was Saturday, we would have been in trouble.
Right. Okay, well, let's agree to phase one here, because this is critical. In terms of timing. All right then, any further discussion?
I had a question and I lost it.
Okay then, all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed?
I've been enough disagreeable with you tonight. I'll go with an aye.
All right, fantastic.
It's, we've got the money in the budget. Well, I know what the question was, but should we ask finance? But that was gonna be my question, but
Finance will be certainly playing a major part.
how they
Oh, you
feel
mean
about us
FinCom?
spending, how they feel about us spending $15,000 to do this, possibly, that was gonna be my question that I had lost, so, but we voted.
It's in the budget already.
All right, well, let's move on to the social media policy discussion. So Mike, based on our last meeting, I think I opened up a can of worms by suggesting that we consider Facebook as a mechanism to communicate with the community. And you were so kind to go out and provide us with some policy examples and some information from another community and some ICMA, the State of Massachusetts Government Media Policy, and another city. And I mean, I've read through all this stuff here. I'll open up to you guys if you guys have had a chance to kind of digest through this and get a sense of what you hope to see happen.
Well, I watched the webinar of the link that Mike provided in the email.
Yep.
I guess we've got to decide how deep we want to go into social media and identify the reasons that we want it.
Mhm.
You know, once we get that developed or understood, then you can decide whether you want it to be interactive or informational.
Maybe we could use the strategic planning session as a catalyst to help us understand what the community is looking for communication.
That would probably be a.
Because I'm sure someone is going to bring up better communication from.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be. So why don't we hold off on this discussion until we get a little bit of feedback from the community. There's a constituency of voters and residents that don't use Facebook. So what else what do they do? Are we doing enough of it? Can we do more? Can we do less? What can we start? What can we stop? All that fun stuff. So I just for the sake of time tonight, and I think that vision, that strategic planning session, could probably help guide us a little bit further.
Oh, it would, because I mean,
Yep.
we could do Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, all these different social media sites, and work ourselves into a new employee. You know,
Exactly.
so we really got to decide what it is we want.
Yep.
What we're trying to convey in the community, whether it's just information, whether they have someplace to go to get information other than the website.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, my concern with, and no offense, Mike, what we've been given here, but all this stuff is old. No, seriously, in the social media world, the policy from 2013 is old. It's evolving, and that, to Doug's point, it's evolving monthly or almost weekly, all these social media, there's so many different social media sites and different things coming out that, above my pay grade, or at least my age group, and I know firsthand experience, when you get into the social media market, you better have somebody there monitoring and communicating, or it can actually backfire on you, so.
Well, some of it is dated, but I feel it's all relative, relevant. And Doug, I'm not gonna tell you we can do this under current employees. I don't think we can do a good job with our current situation. The one area that I was looking into is utilizing the cable staff. I talked with Janice Morrissey, and she said, yeah, we can do these kind of things, but, as long as we keep it simple initially, and in the I think it was in the seminar, the one guy said, start with just two channels, two things. He started with 4, but so, and we're already doing Facebook, but we're doing it without any policies, without any regard to open, meeting laws and things like that, and that scares me. So we gotta regroup everybody.
Right. And we do utilize YouTube, because
absolutely, yeah.
Because the meetings, or a lot of them are,
Mm-hmm.
are broadcast via YouTube.
Okay, well, let's, again, it'll be, if there is any budget that's required, it's gonna go into a prioritization list based on what we hear from the public. If it's that critical, then let's think about it. If people aren't tuned in and don't care,
Well,
we're okay.
I'm thinking that we already have a couple of channels that we're
We own our own TV station.
underutilizing or utilizing, let's say,
Right.
that we could get better at without having huge impact to the budget. And then, as he stated, as you know, mentioned, the gentleman doing the webinar said, well, yeah, start off small, and because you don't know, 3 years from now, we don't think it could happen, but Facebook might not be the dominant area. So this, and it's to Dave's point, this stuff changes so quickly and evolves.
Okay, well, let's put that as part of that agenda on that discussion for that day. All right, I have a few correspondence here that came in that weren't on the agenda here. I have a public service announcement from our assessor's office that the assessor's list for new valuations for 2016. They've completed their revaluation of all classes of real and personal property as mandated by the Department of Revenue for 2016. The preliminary certification has been approved by DOR on September 18th. It says values are derived from the analysis of market sales from 7/1/2013 to 6/30/2015. All taxpayers are invited to inspect the valuations at the assessor's office in Town Hall on Thursday, October 1st from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., Monday, October 5th from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., Tuesday, October 6th from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., Wednesday, October 7th from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., and Thursday, October 8th from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. If you have any questions on the valuations for personal and real property in town, contact the assessor's office, Jay Ferrara, at 978-352-5708. We have a letter from the MMA for us that there's a fall conference for Selectmen on Saturday, October 3rd from 8:30 to 2 p.m. at Lake Pearl in Rentham. I'm interested in going if anyone else is, if I'm free, but let's just all communicate through Janet who might be able to attend, and maybe we can go down together. This is on 4 major topic areas: budgeting, collective bargaining, open meeting law and public records law, and facilitating public meetings. I have 6 months left. I'm not sure if I should be going, but I am still interested. Okay, we got a letter from the Association of Town Finance Committees. Basically, we're invited to the Association of Town Finance Committees 2015 annual meeting held on Saturday, October 17th at the Host Hotel in Sturbridge from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Which is when our visioning session.
So you didn't hear that? No, we're kidding. Anyhow, I'll just read it. So we got this invitation. It includes new topics as well as old favorites. Enclosed is the information on budgeting, energy saving, capital planning, Proposition 2.5, how to be an effective finance committee, visual budget, and financial trend monitoring. God, I hope they record this stuff. Those would be great to video and have available for those who can't make it. And I think that is really it. We have, for the community, we've been invited to participate at the new Pembroke Elementary School ribbon cutting ceremony, which is this Saturday, September 26th at 10 a.m. at the Pembroke Elementary School. We expect to have a number of legislators and other dignitaries from the state attend, and hope you guys can all make it. So that's all I have. Mike, anything from you? No, we didn't really have a...
Yeah, well, speaking of conferences, I will be attending the annual International City Managers Association conference next week. Be out of the office Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Okay.
And during that conference, I can bring back the most up-to-date information on social media policies.
I wasn't taking a shot at you.
I know, but you're right, and I'll have the latest and greatest from all around the country.
Good.
They have a lot of sessions devoted to social media.
All right. Where's that being held?
Seattle, Washington.
Oh, say hi to the 0-2 Seattle Seahawks first. Anyway.
I know.
Mr. Chairman, I have one thing, if you don't mind. Congratulations to the Camp Dennison Committee. We had a wonderful day, a wonderful open house, beautiful day, a lot of people from the town, and I had some out-of-town people too, and I guess some fresh faces that we didn't know. They did a great job. It was a great day. The kids enjoyed it, and we certainly ate some hot dogs and listened to the music, and so it was a great day. And congratulations to them on doing a great job with the camp.
Thank you.
Super. Thank you all for joining and helping down there as well. That was fun. Anyone have anything else before we adjourn? All right. Our next meeting is going to be on October 5th at 7 o'clock. And the next meetings, just want to remind everyone, Saturday, October 17th is our strategic planning, our visioning session on October 17th. On Monday, November 2nd, we have a special town meeting at the middle high school, 7 p.m. And then on Monday, November 9th, we'll have the state of the town. Wonderful. All right, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Good night, everyone. Thank you. All right.
Yeah, that, November 2nd.